Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Influencers Project. I'm your host, Craig Reynolds, and with me today is one of the most respected and renowned journalists in the Charlotte market, Miss Colleeen Odegaard. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great. It's really nice to see you, Craig, in our matching shirts, which we totally didn't plan, by the way.
I can't believe that. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen. As soon as you popped up, I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. This is perfect.
Vibing. We were vibing. Yes. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you.
It is so good to see you in person. Well, in person, virtually, I guess. The last time I saw you in person, we were on set at your show.
Yes.
But it's so much fun, and that was a treat. So thanks for having me come in and be able to come play with you guys for a little bit back in the day. That was great.
Oh my gosh, of course. Our pleasure.
So the Real Influencers Project started because I wanted to do a photo project of all of the people that I felt really had an influence on my life as I was growing up, whether it was my friends or some neighbors or the people that I raced bikes with. And I wanted to do a portrait project because I love photography, which explains the camera. And I'm going to make a book and give this book to my friends that I've done the portraits for. I mentioned that to a friend and he said, you should make that a video project. And I thought, that's a great idea, because then that gives the opportunity for other people to tell their story, to give some gratitude for the people or the things that helped shape who they are. Because I really feel that when someone says influencer now, they think social media. They think about the people that are selling them shoes on social media or the weight loss programs. And that's all fine and dandy. But my neighbors across the street that tell me to buy the Husqvarna lawnmower, they're not getting paid for that. It's a genuine thing, and it's helpful. You know, I said this a bunch of times. It takes a village for everything to work. And I've been so blessed with some incredible people in my life that I thought this is a really nice platform to be able to share this with other people.
That's really nice. Yeah.
And with what you do, and you're on TV all the day, you host a television show in the morning and presenting all kinds of cool stuff. And we're a reporter and an anchor. Did you write a book as well?
No, I didn't. I didn't write a book. I have not written a book. That may be coming, but I haven't done that yet. But
premonition, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, let's go back and start off. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in California, San Jose, California. I went to San Jose State University, and my parents still live in San Jose, California.
Really? Now, where did you find your love of TV or journalism? Was it always TV? Did you want to be a writer or reporter on that aspect, or?
I wanted to be a star, baby.
Yes.
That's what I want. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kind of not kidding. So no, I sort of stumbled into it when I was at San Jose State University. I went to the campus radio station one day and heard my voice on the microphone. I got to do a little playing around in the studio, and I thought, ooh, that's kind of cool. I like that. And to be 100% honest with you, the reason I got into television, this is a completely true story. I needed validation and acceptance from the masses, and I needed people to like me because I had such a problem liking myself. And so it really was kind of the allure of, oh, that's cool to be on TV. I can get a lot of people to like me. And I remember my first day of one of my journalism classes, my professor said, you know, if you're in this class because you just want to be a TV star, you might as well get up and get out of here. And I was like, that's totally why I'm here. Now, I will tell you, I didn't stay in television all these years. For that reason, I obviously grew up and started to understand that it really is an honor and a privilege to serve a community in that way and to share people's stories. And I think there's nothing more sacred than when someone is trusting you with their story and sharing what is in their heart with you. So it's a responsibility that I grew to take very seriously. And it has been a pleasure and an honor. But so the answer to your question is no, it wasn't like this burning passion to uncover the truth or anything like that.
Right.
But my reasons for staying have been much more noble than the reasons I got into it.
Okay. So you went from San Jose, and where was your first television gig?
Laredo, Texas.
Oh, nice.
And then Lubbock, Texas. And then to Salinas, California, and then in Charlotte.
Okay. See, and I think people don't necessarily realize the ladder that you've got to climb to get to the bigger markets. Was there ever an opportunity or a desire to get to like a top 3 market? Did you ever want to go back to California?
Yeah, I did at one point in time. And at the time when I wanted to work in San Francisco, but this was in my 20s. I wasn't ready for it. Of course, I was, in my 20s really cocky and thought, of course, I could do that. I wasn't ready for that. I needed every bit of experience that I ended up getting. And I did have some job offers, something in bigger markets while I was in Charlotte. They weren't quite the right job. And then I had kids, and this became my home and my community, and I love where I live. So, yeah.
It's amazing. I moved here from Chicago, and I always thought I'd move back.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm here and I've planted some roots,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got kids, it's like, no, this is home. It's really nice to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how that would work out if it came to it. Was that a pretty big influence for you as well? Like, hey, we've got kids, we're not going anywhere? Because you're not just uprooting yourself anymore, right? It's way easier when it's just us.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And I think that any place is what you make of it. When I hear people say that, oh, I hate this town, about whichever town USA you live in, I think that you do have some choice in that, and you can really plug in. There are good people in every town. You can find people who could be some of your closest friends or influences in whatever town in which you live. I promise there's a good place to eat where you live, wherever you live, and you can find your people, and that's what I think it is. So yeah, certainly I didn't want to uproot my kids, and I love it here. There are a lot of reasons, but
yes. So you've been in TV for a while,
mm-hmm.
and one of the reasons why I reached out to you to see if you would do this, and I'm so grateful for you doing this. Thank you very much. I think everyone has such wonderful stories, no matter who they are. And I love to share them, and I love to hear them, because I learn something new about it, about my
mm-hmm.
friends and the people that I'm interviewing all the time. But you've kind of made a bit of a transition. Like, you're still in TV, you're still hosting a very popular show here in Charlotte, but you've now branched out into life coaching. Would you consider it, or call it a life coaching style?
Yes, I have a podcast that I host. It's called Wake Up to Your Life. You can subscribe for free on any platform where you listen to podcasts. And I'm a certified life coach. I also do some video and media coaching too. That's another service that I offer. But yeah, and I love it. I love the work. I love coaching. I love what coaching can do for people, how it can really get you unstuck, take you from this level to the next level. And the whole basis of my podcast and my coaching business really stems from like I said, Wake Up to Your Life is the name of my podcast. I think that so many people walk around living on autopilot, right? We kind of going through the motions, doing the same sort of thing every day. And maybe our lives look pretty good on paper. You go, oh, you got a nice house, and no, I got healthy kids. And, you have all the things that you're supposed to have, the ingredients of a happy life, yet you feel like something's missing. Like there's something that is not fulfilled, and you dream of something more, but sometimes that dreaming of something more becomes painful. So you get back into autopilot mode, and you Netflix your way, eat your way, drink your way, shop your way into this kind of numbed out state. So I talk about that on the podcast, how I spent many years living in that kind of catatonic sleepwalking state. And sometimes it's seasons of your life. If you have young kids, it's hard to sometimes do too much more other than, keep your kids alive and work and get dinner on the table. But,
yes.
But really that's why I started the podcast, and I'm really able to serve people through the podcast. And they're really learning a lot about, just some small shifts that you can make starting today, starting this minute, to help you live more awakened and really go after creating the life that it is that you dream of, so that the life that you dream of is actually the life that you're living.
What was the tipping point where you felt, you know what, I've got a story to share? And how much of your personal life did you bring into your life coaching?
Mm-hmm. When I'm coaching with a client, I don't bring in my story, only because it's about my clients. It's their time. Sure. It's all about them. But in my podcast, I do share a lot of personal things. I share difficulty from my childhood. I talk about, I have Tourette syndrome, which is characterized by a series of tics, which is so ironic that I've had a 3-decade-long TV career, and I have a tic disorder, and I've had since childhood. So I share those things. I talk about the ways that I have felt insecure and felt like I wasn't good enough and felt like an imposter. And I think outside looking in, people would never have thought that about me or think that about me.
Right.
I've had a successful career. I mean, I have no regrets about anything in television. And so I think outside looking in, again, I've got, been married for 20 years. I have nice children who say, yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. And I think people thought that, like I had this seemingly glamorous life. Like there's pictures of me on Facebook, emceeing, or Instagram, emceeing events, but really underneath it all, there was still this, I just thought there might be more. And it's because I was being called to coach, and I was afraid to to do it because I thought, oh, but I'm kind of a mess myself. Who am I to be a coach? I sometimes eat too many potato chips and drink a third glass of wine. Like I can't, who am I to help these other people? And then I realized, no, I can show up in my mess and be transparent about it, and so I went to school to become a certified life coach, and started seeing clients and just love the work. I love the transformations that people can really experience within a short amount of time with very concentrated effort and deliberate steps.
When did you decide to do that? Like, when did you really feel like now is the time? And when did you have that confidence to come out and go, you know what? We're doing it. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. I still don't know that I have the confidence to tell you the truth. I just did it anyway. I didn't have the confidence. I just did it anyway. I felt scared and freaked out and did it and was doing it anyway, if that makes any sense. Right. So I think what was really a turning point for me was 2 years ago. Our son nearly died. He had emergency brain surgery. He was airlifted to a hospital in Uptown Charlotte. He suffered a brain bleed after a rugby accident. And really was minutes away from death. And I talk about it on one of the podcasts, but that was a very, we always know that life is fragile. All of us know that, we say, oh, life is precious, but really and we all know that, but then we're reminded sometimes right when it's in our face, like during COVID, when you realize, oh, I don't have control over stuff. It was the same thing. Like my son's accident though, really was sort of I have to get to the business of living. So it was that. It was also my 50th birthday was coming up, and I thought, like, I'm on the back nine, baby, at this point. Like I gotta get to the business of doing stuff. Well, really, like at this point, not to be morbid, but I've lived more than half my life. So do I want to look back and go like, gosh, I always wanted to try that thing. So I decided it's better to go out. I'd rather go out and try and fall on my face than not ever put myself out there. So that was sort of the turning point, those things together.
That is one thing that I've never been afraid to do, is reinvent myself. Feel like I get to a point with something and I'm like, it's time to go, because this no longer serves me, whatever this is. I'm not sure where I got that from. I have no idea, but it's always been like that for me. And it sounds like you got to that point as well. Do you see that with some of your clients? And I don't want to violate anyone's privacy.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But do you see that with a lot of your clients where you're like, here's where you are, let's get you to this spot over here?
Well, that's usually why they reach out. I've noticed a couple of common threads with people. That there are a lot of people who are suffering and hurting and have a really mean inner critic in their brains. A mean voice, a negative voice who's telling them, who do you think you are starting a YouTube show? Who do you think you are coming out with a podcast? Who do you think you are to write a book? Who do you think you are to dream of something more? Like, this is never going to work. Do you know how many other books are out there on personal development? You know how many podcasts are out there? That voice is in. Everybody has it to varying degrees and at different times, but there are a lot of people whose brains are filled with a lot of lies about themselves that they're believing are true. And that is what's keeping people in that sleepwalking autopilot state. And so that's why we go, well, okay, I'm just okay with, we get the life we tolerate. That's true. Now, certainly there are things that are out of our control that happen to us, but yes, there's so many people who, that's why they reach out to me, because they feel bad about themselves and they want the confidence to go out and try these things. And there are a lot of people too, they're at this level and they want to get to this level and they just need a little push, and finding the right coach. Yeah. And finding the right coach, it's, really takes a minute. It can take a minute because it's a very personal relationship. Yes. And, but it's amazing to have. I've hired a coach, I believe in the work and it helped me. helped me launch my podcast. It helped me to say, all right, here I am. I'm a coach. So
I love the comment you made. We get the life we tolerate.
mm-hmm.
It's a little scary to hear that,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sure there's
Yeah.
plenty of people that settle. And I think it's so sad when someone settles for something for their whole life and then it's over.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. And it's heartbreaking to me to see people never unleash their potential.
Yeah.
That makes me sad. So
Yes.
when people come to me and say, oh, I would like to do this, but I just don't think I can. And I see it in them, and I know that they've got the passion for something, but they don't see it in themselves. And I think, oh, you gotta go for it. You gotta try. Now, I'm not
Right.
saying quit your good paying job and like just go, unless you're really being called to do that. But it's being responsible too. But really, there are lots of things that you can do. And even if you never reach the goal, the goal that you'd set out, who you become on the way there is still pretty cool, right? You're still shaking up your life. You're still doing some things differently.
Yes. And what you said a second ago, who am I to start a podcast? Who am I to start a YouTube show? It took me, I thought about a podcast for years and years and years. And I'm like, again, does anyone really want to care to hear what I have to say? And it finally got to the point where the influencer project was already my project. And it was something that I wanted to do. And I'm not sure what the trigger was where I'm like, I'm doing it. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going for it, and I'm going to keep doing it because it feels good and it feels right to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
With you being on TV, I think all of us grow a sense of comfort with the people that we see on television. We feel like we know these people. We feel like, I'm secure with this person. That has to work out very well for you with your clients who come see you, because if they already know you and they get a feel for you on TV and how nice you are, that's got to be comforting for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so. I hope that whatever, I really do try to bring, listen, I love my clients, and I really hold the highest and best vision for each of them. And if I think I can't, then I will not work with them. So I really, I want people to go after the stuff that they want to do. It just, that lights me up when I see people going for it. Like, I love that you started this after, for 4 years hemming and hawing and thinking, and I know it's not a podcast, but it's still, you're still doing your thing. You're still putting it out there.
Right.
I don't care. I'm just going for it. I'm doing it.
What harm can there be, right? If someone else has done it, why can't I?
That's exactly right. If it's possible for someone else, means it's possible for you too. It doesn't mean, oh, now I can't because now there's not enough room. No, it means it's possible for someone else too. For you too. There's a Marianne Williamson quote where she says, if someone is living in the light of her true being, it liberates you to live in the light of your true being. If someone else has more, it does not mean that you have less. That's good. That's awesome. A good quote, right?
She's a fantastic woman.
Yeah, that's a good quote.
Incredibly good quote. Absolutely.
I wish I thought of it. I wish I'd said it.
There's so many things that I wish I had said or done. There's all kinds of good stuff. I'd be living on an island right now.
Yeah.
Had I capitalized on all this stuff. I told Julia about 7 years ago, no, we need to do, Jules. We need to put your yoga classes on YouTube, and then we can have a subscription base so someone can go to your yoga class. Peloton. I could have been a billionaire at this point. Yeah. He goes, you need to tell people these things, and not just me, because you have great ideas, but you don't share them. And I'm like, yeah, good call.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unleash them. Go for it. See what happens.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Colleen, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. You are wonderful. And thank you so much for taking the time to come and sit with me and chat about all the wonderful things that you're doing now. If someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they go about doing that?
Thank you for asking that. Instagram is a great place to start. I check my DMs every day, or most every day. Colleen at Colleen, COLLEEN _Odegaard, ODEGAARD. And you can go to my website, ColleenOdegaard.com, and I have coaching inquiry forms there. You can just send me an email, Colleen@wakeuptoyourlife.net. Any of those ways work.
Fantastic. Hopefully this will, someone will see this and realize, you know what, I've been sleepwalking as well. I need to get out of this. I need to wake up.
Yeah,
and they'll give
I
you a
hope
call.
so. I hope
I
so.
hope so too.
Or
I hope
just
so too. Because
the podcast is absolutely free. You can listen to that. That can be a good starting point. So
there we go. And what's the name of the podcast again?
wake up to your life.
Wake Up to Your Life. Perfect. I'm going to subscribe to it as well.
Great. Thanks, Craig.
Wonderful. Well, Colleen, thank you so much for your time. If you guys like what you're seeing, please make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. And you can also subscribe at Apple Podcasts as well and listen to it in your car. Colleen, have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you sometime soon.
Sounds good, Craig. Thank you.